Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Being the Marshmallow, Living and Coping with PTSD. I am Bob Wagner, and back in the studio with me after an extended absence away are Pete.
Hello.
And Blimey.
Oh, hi, mateys. Good to be back.
It is 10:08 in the morning on Tuesday, November the 22nd, 2016, and I am day drinking. Quality stuff. Special thank you to my buddy Vincent for the flask. By the way, that was a little birthday present from my buddy Vincent. The flask, not the moonshine. That was on me. So you may be asking yourself, why is Bob drinking 107 proof moonshine liquor at 10:08 in the morning on a Tuesday?
Is it because you're an alcoholic?
No, Pete, I'm not an alcoholic.
Oh, yeah, you don't do meetings.
So why?
Oh. Is it because you work retail and Black Friday's just around the corner?
Not quite Blimey, but close. The actual reason why I took a hit of fairly potent corn whiskey at a time when most people are normally having their first coffee break at work is to commemorate a pretty major and rather dark event in my life. On Wednesday the 23rd, roughly 2005, I tried to kill myself using alcohol and pills. What had happened is I had been working at a place. I thought I was doing fairly well at it, and I got to work, and my boss was waiting for me, and she informed me in very unambiguous terms that I wasn't doing as well as I thought, and that my services were no longer required with the company. And so I collected my things, I went home, I wrote a brief note to my wife apologizing for my actions, and I took 26 sleeping pills and quantity of alcohol, laid down on the couch and tried to die. This is not a joke. This is not me being funny or any of my usual goofball shenanigans. I tried to kill myself. And I'm sharing this with you because this is a very serious subject, and it's a blade that hangs over the heads of every single person with PTSD. Every day in the United States, 28 people suffering from this disease kill themselves. That's 1 every 54 minutes, roughly the length of your average television program. And that doesn't count the people whose bodies are never found because they wander off into the woods and they die somewhere, or it's misdiagnosed, the cause of death is mislabeled as an accidental overdose or some sort of accident or mischance involving a firearm or some other means. It only counts the people who very specifically have been diagnosed with PTSD, their bodies found, and the cause of death labeled as suicide. That's 22 veterans, 6 civilians, every day after day after day here in the United States. And the reason that we do this, and the reason that I've been living with this over my head for 3/4 of my life now, I'm 45 years old, and my first attempt at killing myself was when I was 14. My dad put hands on me one time too many. I went to people whose job it was to help me. They handed me back over to him. He beat me worse than he had previously ever. And I took a length of clothesline out into the woods, tossed one end over a branch, put the other around my neck, and the goddamn rope broke. And what it really comes down to is that this most recent attempt, 11 years ago tomorrow, was because like a lot of us who fight this fight, I was just tired. I was tired of the struggle. I was tired of the constant fear. I was tired of not being able to trust my own mind or my own senses. I was tired of people not understanding what I was going through. I was tired of being ostracized by society. I was tired of the behaviors that my PTSD drove me to, which caused, real emotional harm to those around me. I was just tired, man. I was tired of being scared. I was tired of hurting. I was done in, and I wanted the pain to stop. And that is a story that I suspect a lot of us who have this can relate to. Most of us have thought about it. A lot of us have tried it. Unfortunately, some of us succeed every day. And so that's what I want to talk about today. I took that drink as a way of taking it back, of saying, no, this was once a weapon to harm me. Now I'm using it to reaffirm my life. And that's also why I'm going to be going to a pub that I'm rather fond of tomorrow after work and having a drink or a few with my beautiful wife, Robia, and hopefully a few of our friends. And I'm going to commemorate that day, as I always do, by reclaiming my life and reaffirming the things that make life worth living. I want to talk directly to my fellow sufferers here. I get it. This is a hard fight. It's exhausting, man. We have so much going on. There's nightmares and hallucinations and despair and depression and the constant unending fear. There's the overreactions to common everyday stimuli. There's the lack of understanding and, frankly, the lack of compassion on the part of society and our coworkers and very often our friends and our family, who play buzzword bingo, just going, well, just, get over it, don't let it get to you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I get it. This is a hard fight. And having made 4 attempts on my own life at various points, I understand why a person would feel compelled to try to end the pain and try to end the struggle by killing themselves. And I'm not going to use euphemisms here. That's what you're doing. You are killing yourself. Okay? You're not taking your own life. You have your own life. No. You're turning a living person, you, into a dead person. Period. You're killing somebody. You're killing you. And I understand why we feel to do this. It's a hard, scary, painful existence with PTSD. But I'm begging you, please don't do it. Just don't, okay? I get it. It hurts. It's hard. It's scary. But here's the deal. You're not making the pain go away, okay? I'm a deeply religious man. I pray every day, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know if there's anything on the other side of this ride. What I do know for a fact is that whether there's Valhalla or heaven or the Summerlands or Nirvana or whatever, waiting for us on the other side, on this side, where our dead, stinking corpse is left, there's other people. We're not making the pain go away. We're just passing it off, okay? You're passing it off to the spouse who finds you, or the stranger who stumbles upon your body, in some park somewhere, or the train driver who has to live with the fact that you stepped in front of his train and decided to kill yourself that way, and he has to live with the sight of another human being splattered all over the windscreen of his vehicle. You're not making PTSD stop. You're just passing the baton to somebody else. And I want you to think about that. Think about how much this sucks. Okay? My father was a monster. Okay? He was a wife beater. He was a thief. He was a child beater. He was a pedophile who raped me 1,500 times before I was 16 years old. He was Satan incarnate, and I wouldn't wish this on him, okay? So think about that before you do this. Nobody who has PTSD likes it. Why would you give it to someone else? Why would you make the choice to inflict this fight of ours, the suffering and the fear and the depression and all of the misery? Why would you inflict that on somebody else? So please don't do it. And don't just not do it for other people's sake. Don't do it for your own. Stay in the fight, because yeah, it's hard, okay? I'm 45. I've been dealing with this shit since I was 12. I know better than most, man. And I know how hard it is. I know how scary it is. If you've watched any of these videos, you know it, and I get it. But there's still a lot of great stuff, okay? The world, at the end of the day, yeah, it's scary. And there's ignorant people in it. And there's things that really, really make it a challenge. But there's a lot of cool stuff, okay? There's puppets and cool flasks full of really good liquor, which I'm not going to hit again because this is actually the second take I've done of this video and I don't want to get too tipsy. There's beautiful people of whatever gender most revs your engine. There's bacon, and there's, gee, I don't know, every fucking note ever played by the rock band Rush. There's all this great stuff, and you're going to miss out on it if you leave the party before your time. And believe it or not, as one person said to me on social media when I was having some pretty serious ideation recently, whether you know it or not, you're gonna leave a hole in the earth, man. You are gonna leave a crater in people's lives. There's gonna be people who know you're gone, and the world will be a poorer place for you. I don't care how much you think I'm full of shit right now, how much you think the world could only be made better by your absence, but you're wrong, okay? You're a person. And when one of us leaves, the world is a less magical place for it. It loses all of all the jokes we would have made, all of the ways we would have helped other people. It loses all of the contributions we would have made. And we lose all of the cool experiences that we would have had. So please, for your own sake or for other people's sake, for whatever reason, if you are feeling the need to do this, please get help. Call your friends, call your family, work your way through your phone contacts, one after another, and talk to people, and keep talking until you no longer want to do this. And if, for whatever reason you don't have anybody, or you don't want to burden your friends and your loved ones, call this number right here. You see this? This is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline for the United States. Call this number, 1-800-273-8255. It's 24/7. There are good, compassionate volunteers who care enough about you as just a random stranger that they are willing to take time out of their lives to volunteer to save yours, okay? 1-800-273-8255, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. I'm going to leave this up here for a few more seconds so that you can see it, okay? 1-800-273-8255. Call it, use it. Don't hurt yourself. Don't kill yourself. Don't take that step, because yeah, today may suck, okay? I got to be honest with you, my today wasn't that great. I had a pretty bad panic attack last night that didn't let me get to bed until about 12:30, almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and had me back awake at 3:30 in the fucking morning on my day off. And I'm still putting my left foot in front of my right foot, man. And I get it, It's hard. But please do not take that step. Do what you got to do. Go out in public. Go to the mall. Go to the park. Divest yourself of any weapons, anything, any pills or alcohol or knives or guns or anything you could use to hurt yourself. Because the truth is, with the exception of jumpers and people who step in front of trains, which I also count as a jumper, suicide is generally a private thing. All right. If you're at home alone in private, you're more likely to hurt yourself when those thoughts come. Go out in public, because most of the time, if we're out in public around other people, we're not going to do it. That's just it. And I want to speak now to the neurologically typical people. If somebody calls you up and says, I am thinking about hurting myself, I am thinking about killing myself, do not, under any circumstances, tell them to do it. Okay? If you do that, I know that there's, the conventional wisdom, conventional pop psychology is to tell people is if somebody calls up and says, I'm going to kill myself, you're supposed to call their bluff. Well, just do it, you big pussy. If you do that and they actually take the step, if they eat the pills, or they or they shoot themselves, or they take a blade into the bathtub, or they step off of a high ledge, you are as much a part of their death as anything else. You as good as killed them yourself, because that was a human being in pain, in desperation mode. Please, God, let there be somebody out there who values me enough to give me an excuse to cling to this hard, scary, painful existence, because I don't really want to go. Okay? And if you tell them, do it, you big pussy, then you are every bit as responsible as if you had come to their house, put a gun to their head, and pulled the trigger yourself. Okay? You are half a step away from a murderer if you do that and they die. Okay? Don't do it. If somebody calls you up saying, I'm thinking about killing myself, respond with compassion, respond with patience. Tell them, I'm here for you. Listen to them. Keep them talking, because the longer we talk, the less likely we are to fucking do it. Okay? The simple act of being present, even over the phone, for another human being could save a life. Okay? And yeah, fine, and don't judge them. Don't lay out any platitudes. Just let us get it out of our system why we want to do this. Ask us, well, what's going on? What's happening that you want to take this step, ask you, hey, is there anything that I can do? Is there anything you need from me? And, keep us engaged. And I got to be honest, at the first opportunity, don't put somebody on hold, okay? If somebody calls you up in crisis mode, don't put them on hold. But the first opportunity you get on the phone to 911, provide the dispatcher with that person's location, say very specifically, I'm dealing with a suicide call, they want to kill themselves, they have the means and the opportunity, please get somebody to that location. Okay? And that may seem like and that may seem like a snitch move or a rat move. No, screw that, okay? This isn't diming somebody out because they took some pens home from work or they jaywalked. This is somebody trying to kill themselves, and you are taking a step to prevent that, okay? This is you effectively using the telephone to push somebody out of the way of a speeding bus, okay? That's what you're doing. Respond with compassion. Respond with patience. Do not judge them. Do not lay any of these platitudes. Oh, tomorrow's a better day, blah, blah, blah. You just need to know. Just listen to us. We don't want judgment. We don't want a bunch of Pollyanna bullshit. We just want to be heard. We want to know that we're, that we have value. We want to know that there is somebody who cares that, we're thinking about doing this. We want to know that there's somebody who is going to miss us. We want to hear that we shouldn't do it. And specifically use those words. Don't do it. Use those words. Say, please don't do this. Say, I don't want you to hurt yourself. I don't want you to kill yourself. I'm here for you. I'm your friend. I'm your relative. I'm whatever your relationship is with this person. Use the words, don't do it. You could save a life. And at the end of the day, we're all people. We all count. And as I've said earlier in this video, the loss of any one of us is a loss to the greater whole. So I'm going to wrap this up. To my brothers and sisters who are suffering from PTSD and other serious mental illnesses, be strong, stay in the fight. You have value. I care about you, and I'm sure other people do. To my neurotypical friends out there who help us out coping with this, thank you for your patience and your compassion, and thank you for being strong for us and helping us make it through this fight. I'm going to leave you once again with the National Suicide Hotline number, 1-800-273-8255. Be safe, be well, please be here the next time I post one of these videos. Peace out.